Hello guys, today we are doing Alister from echoCTF, which is the third machine on the list. The box had two web servers running, an Nginx web server which was configured with a PHP module, unfortunately, called PHP FPM in order to handle PHP scripts, and the Go web server that runs an open source software called Alister, and oh boy, the GitHub repo was full of Chinese, which I had a hard time reading. Anyway, enough of me crying, and let's jump right in and see how we can pawn this box. So not to waste time, I already ran the scan, and there it is. So as you can see, there are two ports open. That's the scan I've run. Port 1337 and port 5244. Let's just take these and put in our notes and continue from there. So I already created a new instance of Cherry Tree, called it Alister, and I just noticed that this is spelled wrong. So just give me a minute. Alister, okay. So I'm gonna put this here. Let's make it like this. Okay. As you can see here, 1337 is running an Nginx server 1.18.0. Let's visit that first. So HTTP 10.10.10.0.50.1.37. Okay, and I don't know what exactly is that, but it seems that it's an array that it lists contents. I tried checking for robots.txt, nothing was there. You can see the version of the Nginx again. So let's start our enumeration on that. So let's first create a directory and call it fuzz. This is a command I used before. And go in that directory, and let's go to user, what was it, go bin, and use gobuster 51 137. Use the seclist discovery raft small words. Let's do small first, and if we don't find something, we move to large words. And let's say it as raft small words. Let's put the port in front of that, txt. Right off the bat, we're gonna see that we discovered the directory called temp and the public directory. I'm just gonna stop it here because there are no more directories. Don't want to waste any time on that. So let's go and check those. On the temp directory, if we go there, we get a forbidden, so we cannot access it. And the other one was public. We get the same thing, forbidden. Okay, let's save that to our notes. Let's create a new subnode, call it HTTP 1337. Let's leave the default that I have here, put that in. So we know that we use small words. Let's take this as well. Okay. Cool. Let's write a small note here. First, the web directory and found two directories which we get 403 forbidden. make that like this. Perfect. So now let's move to the next one, which is 5244. This, as you can see here, we can see the HTTP. Okay, so we know that's a web server, and also there is another hint here. We see generator content alist version 3. Okay, so let me highlight that, and let's see what we have here. So I'm gonna leave that up and running. Go to another tab, 5244, and we're here. Right off the bat, you can see there is a public folder, and we already got the first flag. But if you noticed before, when we visited 1337, we got the same file here. So it seems that we can list somehow the files from the Alice software running. Here we can see we can upload files right off the bat. Okay, create new folders, new files, refresh. You go to the settings. I don't know what's that exactly, but first let's check what is this A list about. Maybe there's a GitHub. Also, we can click here, and this will redirect us to the GitHub repository. As you can see, it says A list go, and if you can notice, there is main Go, so this software is written in Go. It uses Go. We can search for exploits before we move on. Alist version 3. I know it's version 3 from our nmap. Alist version C, you can see it clearly there. Alist version 3, exploit, POC, GitHub. This is normally the 3 keywords I use when I'm searching for an exploit. So it seems there is a CVE for, I don't know if you can see it, let's make it bigger for you guys, 3.6.0. So a user with only file upload permission can bypass the base path restriction by using ... upload files arbitrary path. Okay, so it seems that we can maybe upload files to directories that are not intended to be uploaded, and so we can move directories back and forward. Let's see what else do we have here. Also, we're not exactly sure if we have the 3.6 version. We know it's 3, but don't know the version exactly. What's that about? So is this for A list? Fluent bit version 2.07. I can't see anything related to A list here, so let's discard this. Incorrect access control. Maybe it will help if we put that in quotes. So we get, there it is, information exposure. So to be honest, when I did this box before, I didn't find any exploit, publicly available exploit about this software. I didn't see that before, to be honest. Variable path traversal, maybe we can try this as well. However, there is a login button, and when we click on it, we can browse as guests. And I think it's the same thing as before, so we are already in as guest. So let's try uploading something to the web server and see if we can access it somehow. The thinking behind that is that if I can upload something, any type of file, if there is any restriction, we're gonna check that first, and we can access it. Then we can think about accessing, uploading a web shell or a reverse shell and try to execute it. So let's first create a directory and call it, let's go back, documents, not smithers. Now we're doing Alister, make a directory, call it tab. Okay, and let's first create a test file, test.txt. Okay, upload a file. So it seems that we can upload a folder and a file. Documents, echoCTF, Alister, test. Okay, it seems that the file uploaded successfully. Okay, let's refresh this, and there it is. Okay, so it seems that we can access this file and then download it. We can we edit it from here? Yep, it seems that we can edit the file as well, and also see it as a markdown. When I tried this, I thought maybe I could execute the file using markdown, but there is an easier way. So you can see here it's public test. So whatever file we put next to it, we can access it. Let's say if we put the, let's go back to public, we can see that's the first flag, and there it is again there. However, if the thinking now is to upload a web shell or a reverse shell, we must think that we already know that this is running Go, right? So maybe we can upload a Go reverse shell, which I never did before, to be honest. However, I did find that if we go to public and use this, copy this, go to public, because we did find a public directory, and put that here, we can access it. So using the Nginx server, we can access files which are hosted on the Alice server. The same thing goes with our test.txt file. Here we go. The thing is that in Nginx, I didn't know which files can be executed, because if we want to execute a web shell, let's say, and the server gets to execute the script that we upload, we have to know what kind of if the web server can run those files or execute those files. So I did a search and I learned something new. So this is the search I did. Can Nginx run PHP scripts by default? So Nginx does not execute PHP scripts by default. It must be configured to do so. So it can execute Nginx PHP scripts, but it must be configured this way, right? So that is. So in order to do that with Nginx, we have to add a module called PHP FPM, and then Nginx server can execute PHP scripts. So I took my chances and I did upload a web shell. So let's create a web shell. Web shell.php. Do system open brackets, dollar underscore request, if I can type, request, and here we go. So now we have a web shell. So let's upload it. Upload the web shell. Let's refresh. Okay, so if I go here, nothing happens. We just get can just read the web shell in Markdown. We can change it or download it, right? But if the Nginx server is configured to execute PHP scripts, then we're gonna have execution. So what I did here, I specified the web shell.php, quotation mark, and cmd, and then the command we want to execute. And we have execution. So I just want to mention something. Whatever we put here, like now it's cmd. If I change it to whatever else, it's the corresponding one, the corresponding parameter up here. So just to make my point, I'm just gonna copy web shell and make it web shell 2.php, then edit web shell 2, and let's write here, please sub. So if I go ahead and upload this, here we go, web shell 2 uploaded, great. And we go now and do web shell 2 php, please sub equals id. We do have execution again. Who am I? So we are dub data. Okay, so now we have execution on the web server. When I was looking at the A-list, basically whenever I'm against a software that I didn't know before, or I never hacked into before, and I know there is I know person's GitHub repo. The most of the times I go to issues, but this time when I went to issues, as you can see, it's all in Chinese, so I had to translate each one of them because I was too lazy to, I don't know. I'm sure there is a plugin that you can translate things automatically, but I didn't do that. Anyway, let's move on. So now that we have execution, we have to take a normal shell to make our life easier. So let's see. Let's create, let's first see in what architecture this server is. So I'm gonna use uname -a. So we can see it's a Debian, it's a version of the Debian, and it's using 64 architecture. So we can use an x64. The command for this, there it is. So I'm using -p to specify the payload. It's Linux x64 architecture, and we're using a non-staged payload. This is our lhost is our p, and we're gonna do port 80 because most of the times port 80 it's open. Let's wait a bit, and there it is. So we created the shell, reverse shell, there it is. Let's copy and attempt to upload it to the server. So to upload it, I'm just gonna use wget http 150 specify RP. So first I'm just gonna do a wget to see if we can reach our Python web server, which I didn't open. So to serve a Python web server is simple as that. We specify the module http.server and the port we want to serve the server on. Okay, so I'm gonna serve it on 80, and wait a minute, I think I did a mistake. I called it 86. Let's remove that and recreate the reverse shell and call it x64, so we don't get confused. Okay, there it is. Let's serve the server again. Python 3 http.server on port 80. So first I'm just gonna try to get it without saving it anywhere, just to see if we can reach the Python web server. And as you can see here, we successfully reach the server. So let's do an ls and check. Okay, in order to save a file with wget, if I'm not mistaken, we have to specify the directory. So 150 x64, and a directory that normally allows users or anyone to write to it is temp. So we're gonna try to save our reverse shell there. Okay, it seems that it got the shell, it got the reverse shell. So let's check temp. Okay, I got this problem a lot of times, and this is not nice to see like this. So a trick you can do is, if you use curl, just gonna show you now. So if you use curl with quotes, because we have spaces, you can see we get a better view of the web shell. So as you can see here, we did manage to upload our reverse shell. However, it's not executable yet. So let's try making it executable. I'm gonna use chmod +x, specify our reverse shell, copy. Let's see if that worked. So the command didn't work because we still don't see the X right here, which means executable. So what we can do here, I think we can try another way. We can see if ncat it's installed on the server. So if we do which nc, we can get the path. So we make sure that ncat is indeed installed. So let's go ahead and use that. With ncat you can do 10, you can specify ncat, then the RIP, and then with dash and then the port that we want to access, and with dash e, it's once you connect, execute bash. Okay, so because we are already listening on port 80 with our Python server, we have to close it and then use ncat nc nvlp on 80. And as you can see, we got the connection back. The server looks promising because we can see is installed, and we got the shell. So let's get a stable shell now, as we did in the previous videos. We can use, let's go to our favorite website, Python 3 stable shell. Go to RobNop. Where is it? There it is. Okay, and now we have to, just a minute. Okay. Now we have to fix the STTY, and I do have it somewhere in my notes here, so just a minute. Stable shell, that is STTY row minus echo. So we can go and do Control Z, STTY row, that is minus echo FG, and press enter, and then export term equals X term, and now we can clear the screen by Control L. Cool. Okay, first off, let's check our group, and so we are user data in the group of data. Let's do some checks before we run limpis. Sudo L. Can we run anything? No, we need a password. Unfortunately, we don't have a password. Okay. So let's go back. Okay, so here we have a DataDB. Cat DataDB. Ugh, that looks ugly. So I think we have to access that with an SQL. However, it looks like we can read it, but we cannot write onto it. I think, as you can see, root config.json. What's that about? Configuration files. We can see there is a GWT secret, but before we move on, I forgot that we have to take some notes, right? So here it seems that we can access files on the A-list service software. On the following directories /public/temp. Okay, we found out that the Nginx server is configured to execute /handle manage, let's say, PHP scripts. So we were able to get a web shell. Okay, and let's go back here at this, create a new subnode. Let's call it OSCP, and the port 5244. I usually rush to finish the box, but it's a very good thing to take notes, because you can refer back to it and see if you ever get at the same position, or maybe you solved something that you faced before. You can just search for it and find the answer faster. What we did here, so we could upload files as guest. We did upload PHP web shell and accessed it through the Nginx server. Okay, we managed to get a reverse shell using ncat and C. Oh no, stop it. Okay, cool. Maybe this would be useful after, so let's do subnode PE. Okay, this looks like that this is the configuration file of the Alice server, because we can see port 5244 and that is a JWT token, JWT secret, sorry. Okay, so let's see what else do we have here. There's a temp directory, nothing inside that. The public, we saw that before. Normally I go to the root directory and check if there is anything abnormal. The first time I did an echoCTF, I saw this and I thought that was the path, but in every single machine I did till now, those two files are still there, so it's something normal. I usually check temp as well, and here we go, there is an SQLite database. Let's see what's inside. So, and we can see here there is ID, integer username, password, blah blah blah, and we can get the admin password by this. So we can add this to our notes, put that here. By the way, if let's say you forgot to check temp, or you couldn't find the data SQL, if you run linpiece, linpiece will show it up, and then you can find it this way. We can run it and see that this is the case. However, let's finish the box first. So looking for configuration files. Yep. And found an SQLite database in /temp. Okay, SQLite 3, I should specify that. Did the, let's see, so I'm just looking to see if there was any hint that the SQLite database was there, but nope, not from the configuration files. So we have the admin password of the A-list software. So let's go ahead and log in. Admin superlister is a password, and there we are. If you notice, now we have a manage button, so we can do more on this. We still have the upload new folder, upload files, but of course this looks much more interesting. We can change the password if we want, but why do so? So now we can clearly see the version, and I'm wondering if we search for if we specify the version, will it show any exploits? List exploit pog GitHub. Let's see what we found. Oh, there it is. Upload any file to any folder. Yeah, we did find that before. The file traversal. Yeah, and of course it gets us to it gives us a GitHub issue, and if we go there, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Chinese, right? Yep. So let's see how does this work. So modify file path in the packet to specify directory. Where is that? Oh, so this is the normal request. Okay, maybe. And there is a file path parameter that we can specify. Where is that? File path. There it is. Okay, there it is. File path, blah blah blah. Okay. So there was an exploit. Okay, I don't know if that's the correct path to go, but I didn't do it that way. Let's see what else do we have here. There's a way to run tasks. Area 2, upload copy. There's users, admin and guest, storages, metas. So, my eyes, okay. So here we can see that we can mount path. However, what happened when I was trying to solve this box, I ran linpiece. I didn't find anything through linpiece, but and then I ran pspy, which is a great tool. Let me find it. pspy. It's a command line tool designed to snoop on processes without need for root permissions. That's amazing. Okay, so we can see what processes are running, and you can specify in intervals. It's like a watch command, but much better for me, and it's designed for CTFs. But of course, you can use it in real world as well. So let's try it out. Or first, let's go ahead and run linpiece to see if linpiece finds that SQLite. So let's split that. If you're wondering how to split Tmax, you can click Ctrl B and then the quotes, and it will split in half, bottom and up. So let's go to Alister. Go to tab. Sudo locate linpiece.sh. I don't have it. Linpiece, but okay, let's go ahead and download it then. Linpiece.sh GitHub. Let's go to releases. Linpiece, where are you? There it is. Copy the link and use wget. Fetch it here. There it is. Let's host it and grab it here. Specify IP 150. Linpiece.sh. Great, now we have linpiece, and let's upload pspy as well. So should we get the full repo? No, just need this one right here. Copy link. We get this. Okay, have it as well. Go up. This. Ah. Let's get our web server running. Perfect. Let's close this up. Make this a bit bigger. Okay. Chmod plus X linpiece, and we run linpiece. Process with credentials in memory. That's interesting. And as you can see, there is PHP FPM we saw before, so Nginx is using this module. That's why we're able to execute PHP scripts. Let's go right at the top. Okay. Interest files mounted. I think that's because of the Docker, that's why we get this all there. And we can see here that root is running alist. So we know for sure that alist is run by root. Also here we can see the PHP FPM again. So there are credentials in memory. Let's see how we can get this. So we can use Mimi Penguin to steal the clear text credentials. We can try that as well. However, I didn't do it this way before, but we can try this as well. So we can also grep for credentials. This is interesting. Let's try it. Any cron jobs running? No. I think no. Okay. There is it again. So we already know what it's on that port. Let's see, did it find SQLite or not? Yep, as you can see here, readable files inside temp. So it searches by default in temp, lin piece, and you can see data SQLite there. Great. And again, it searches for a specific file like db.sql.sqlite, so it does find it. Cool. Let's move on. Let's try to search for credentials. Let's search for password. Let's search for admin. Admin. Nope. Okay. There is another tool that it was mentioned here called Mimi Penguin. The tool, blah blah blah, will steal clear text extension from memory and from well-known files. Okay. We can try that as well. So, releases. So. Okay, maybe it's easier to just download it and run it. Let's get the repo and try this out. Alister, top, git clone, this Mimi Penguin. Let's host that. Let's whp 150. We want this. Oh, cool. Let's make it unexecutable. Move this and let's run it. Okay, so we need administrator. Okay, let's move on. So what we know that basically let's run pspy, which, and let's see, yeah, we'll have to chmod it first. Oh wait, okay. So let's see the flags. So we can use color, of course we want color. Print file system events, so we can see if files are moving or something like that. We can specify interval, scan every interval millisecond for new processes, default to 100. I usually default specify to do 1000, so it's quicker and captures more. So let's see. Let's let it run for a bit. As we can see PHP fm again. So we know when we're looking for the UID 0. When we see UID 0, we know it's root that is running it. UID 33, it's us. User /data. As you can see here, we run this command and this is our ID. So you're gonna notice that first of all, the root user is running the A-list server, and you're gonna see a bit that you see some of these actions are being executed every once in a while, specifically every 40 seconds. Okay, because the last time was 5409 and here is 49. Okay, so what I did is that now we know that the A-list server has root privilege, it runs on root privileges. I went ahead and created a new drive to mount. Specify here that we want to mount something locally. Where is it? Local, there it is. And here I did say slash, so to root the whole Linux file system. I click that, saved successfully, and when we go back, we can see we can access everything right now. So I saw that root it's running this specific script, health check, which if we can access this and put a reverse shell there, then we can get a reverse shell. If we put a shell there, a malicious script there, then we can execute it as root. Of course, let's stop that. If I try to cut it, I think I can. I can't. So it's permission denied because it's only accessible and readable by root. However, no, I did wait. Go back to home page. We go to slash. There it is. And let's go find that file. User, where was it? User local sbin. User local sbin health check. There it is. So we can go ahead and edit that and change it to a reverse shell. We can use a reverse shell for pen test monkeys. Pen test monkey bash reverse shell. There it is. Can use this one and change it to 80. As we know, 80 is open. 10, 150, and before we save, let's open a new pane. Excel 2. Nope. Wait. Yeah, let's use this one. And listen on 80. Okay. Can go ahead and save the script. And if we go back here, we can wait for the sbin health.sh to run, and then we should get a shell. Let's see. Did it run already or not? Let's see. Let's wait a bit more. There we go. So now we should have a shell as root. Here we go. We are root. and that's a flag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something new. See you in the next one. Bye.